believe that we started recording right in the middle of 2020 with all of the COVID and lockdowns going on around us, unable to meet up. So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the internet for our entertainment. Tried to find a place where we could meet up and talk about the good, the bad, and that time that Stu saw a pelican on the canal. In order to facilitate our dreams of answering all of the big questions in film, and after a few attempts at recording via other methods to various levels of success, we found Zencastr, a super easy web-based one-stop shop for recording. Log in and you're ready to record in a matter of seconds. It doesn't take a tech genius to get high-quality audio or video. And on top of that, the one time we have had an issue, the fact that the multi-layered backups are stored locally means it's easily fixed all in browser. There are plenty of tools you need when you start podcasting, so let Zencastr take that headache away as it offers a place to record, edit and distribute all from one website. Any lazy bones Jones can pick up and play and have studio quality audio or 4K video put out for the world to see when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CAGEFIGHTING and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. And now, hit the music.
I feel the need for speed.
Hello and welcome to Cage Fighting, Cruise Control. It's your main man, Andy Gillard here. Hope everybody's keeping cool in the world right now.
Hola, hello. If anyone's new here for the first time after the little mention on Fancast on Sunday night, welcome. I don't know what you expect, but welcome.
We did get a few extra followers on the Twitter, so obviously the shout out worked.
That's what the sticker stays on the microphone.
That's it.
Everywhere's just sweaty. It's just not nice. Just leave me alone.
Gents, did 2001 last week. We're moving 12 months down the line. I wanted to kind of compare pre 9/11 to post 9/11 Summerscape. But before we get to that, I went to see, it was a secret screening, but it was the latest A24 film Tony about Anthony Bourdain. Mm-hmm. It's directed by Matt Johnson, who is in Nirvana, the band, the show, the film. He directed that. He also directed Blackberry movie. And it was excellent. But the only reason I wanted to mention it is because, like, right at the start of the film, Anthony Bourdain, he's on a coach going into New York, and the first thing you see is the Twin Towers. Yeah. And I audibly laughed and thought, these people must think I'm a fucking psychopath, because I was the only one laughing at seeing the Twin Towers, but none of them know that I make a joke almost every week about it, so who's the fool, really?
I mean, I don't really know anything about Anthony Bourdain, so I'm quite interested. I know of him, but I just seen the teaser for this one, I was quite interested. Not even knowing who it was made by or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like Bourdain because he was a name in New York. So like, it was very much to say he's the US version of, what's his name? The Gordon Ramsay. Like, that would be doing him a disservice. Like, just because he's a famous chef who's on TV, like he's so much more than that. He feels like he was more ingrained in pop culture in a way that Gordon Ramsay very much has his section, whereas Bourdain felt like he was across a lot more of it all.
Like Ainsley Harriott?
Yes, that's it. He's the white Ainsley Harriott. But yeah, he's someone he seemed to have multitudes in a way that I don't think you get with a lot of, especially the chefs that we see in this country, who are kind of pigeonholed. He seems to be a bit more of a free spirit, and I think that's kind of why he was loved. And the film was great. I really enjoyed it, and it just makes me so depressed because every time I watch anything about chefs, I just think, if I was 18 again, I think I could have been a chef. I think that could have been my calling. I feel like I've missed my calling with that. It's like watching The Bear. It just makes me miserable because I'm like, yeah, I could have been Carmy, and it'd been fucking magnificent.
Just another reason to open something else in a New York city, in an American city somewhere.
Yeah, any excuse.
Yeah, I did my first Screen X experience on Tuesday.
How did you find it? Was it for Spider-Man? Did you go back?
Yeah, well, because, I mean, that film is in my top 5 easy. You know, I don't need to talk about it again. But Ethan wanted to watch it, so I said, well, actually, I've been waiting for something that I know what it is, I literally saw it last week. So I've got something to compare to, and I don't really care that much if it's ruined because I know how good this film is. Bizarre. It's like, I get it. The idea is there. The idea is great for a bit of peripheral vision, whatever. It's just not there yet. It's like the original PSVR. It's just like there was. I don't know if it was because I was focusing too much, but there seemed to be like a tenth of a second delay on the side screens compared to the middle one.
Oh, okay.
Like when it refreshed. But then when I looked at it in the corner to see it happen, and I couldn't see it happen. So maybe it was one of them things. But I mean, it did start and it had Screen X and a little My Computer logo in the corner because they hadn't turned it on. So that might have been something to do with it, and that it wasn't synced properly. I think like what you said with the side ones are obviously not the same quality as the main one.
Yeah.
The light bleed obviously didn't matter for a film like that, so that one issue. I'm glad I've tried it now because I'm never doing it again. But it's one of them things. If it was in a custom made screen, I mean, it goes over the exit door and everything, and it's all a bit silly.
Yeah.
If it was in a custom made screen for it, rather than being retrofitted like the 4DXs at Bentley Bridge, then maybe it'd be better. But for that one, nah, not for me really.
I would be interested to see what it's like at maybe the Telford one or something where the screens are a bit bigger. I wonder if that would make any difference whatsoever. But it's not the biggest room anyway. It's like slightly smaller than the medium screens, but bigger than the small at our branch, and it just doesn't work for me at all. I don't. But then I don't care for gimmicks. I just want a good screen, and that's all I particularly need with a film. Actually, have you got one of these?
No, we don't. Is it because it's boxy? Is it like a square? I wonder whether it would be different if it's like the sphere, like in America. I wonder if it's because of the angles and stuff like that. Because everyone always raves about the sphere, so I wonder if it would help if it was like not.
Potentially, a wraparound might be better than what's effectively a shoebox shape. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't. It feels weird and it's kind of jarring. And like the light bleed really is an issue for me because there's so much light from the side that it degrades the middle screen so badly that I think it was Shazam 2, which admittedly was a dog shit film, but the quality of the film was hampered so much by it. And because those kind of films, there's so much happening so quickly, you need to have a decent visual on it, and it just wasn't there because of it.
There you go. I've just put it in the thing. I did it in the credits, so obviously no one cared. Everyone got the phone at the same time. So you can see, you can kind of see what I'm on about. Because it is the breakup of the things as well. It's with them black where the screens meet.
Yeah, I will. I'll download that and I'll put it out on the Twitter so people can actually see what you're talking about. Because I'm assuming there's going to be plenty of people who have no idea what a Screen X is at this point.
Yeah,
those black lines would piss me off.
Yeah, they do, and because
they're not ideal.
And because of how it is, I mean, they're not black lines; they're the edge of the two screens together.
Yeah.
So it's like watching. It's like when you see them like racing rigs that people have, and it's just three tellies joined together. And so the image moves across the three of them, but there's certain times where it moves across two things where you've got a bar in the middle, and it warps the image a little bit. It's not pure because it's like wraparound. So the sphere being a perfect example that would work, which is the technology evolved. And so I did have a look as well. I thought, I wonder if this is possible like in VR, because it'd be ideal for that.
Yeah.
Is there a Screen X VR mode? But there's not. Not yet.
Well, I suppose like they're not going to do Screen X DVDs, are they? Because you're not going to have the setup in 99.99 houses, are they? It just doesn't seem like it's going to be a feasible thing long term. It just feels like another gimmick that I could see dying when they do their next refurb.
Yeah, it can't be that busy. I mean, I've never been in there in the whole time it's been open. So
I've seen a few films in there that aren't even Screen X as well. So like they use it for other films,
which is annoying because the walls are white.
Yeah, and obviously they don't fill the full screen when they put other films on, so like it's condensed and it looks weird because you've then got all of the cinema screen around it, so it's very weird. But yeah, have you got any gimmick screens at your place, Ash?
The one, my usual one is there's no gimmicks. I'm just having a look to see what we've got, because obviously we've got IMAX. We've got an IMAX in ours, so something brought in. At the View, they've got the Epic screen.
It's like super screen, I guess.
Yeah, it's a super screen, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have a look. I know. Let's say Cineworld. We've got. I'm pretty sure we've got. Is it? What's the silly 4DX? Is it 4DX?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got that. Let's have a look. I'm trying to see what else they've got, because we only ever usually go there if we've got IMAX. So sort of brought in. I think the Odeon has got the what they call the reclining sofas, but that's nothing to really shout home about.
They've got those in one of the screens at Telford Cineworld, so I'm kind of surprised that they haven't put those in at Wolverhampton yet, because that does feel like the next one, and I didn't like it. It's weird because you are almost lying down at that point, and I felt really uncomfortable trying to watch a film in that way.
That was one of the things I felt as well. That, because it's been open a while now, and how every seat reclines a little bit.
Yeah.
Most of the time it goes too far, then you're yanking it back up again. But in Screen X, it was the same seats, but they'd barely been used. Like, no one had reclined in. I thought, this is a sign.
Yeah, right. I think I'm in. Is it Screen 5 or 6? I can't remember, because I think I'm in there tomorrow.
5 is Screen X.
Oh, it's 5. I think I'm in Screen 6 tomorrow for Oak Street. Anyway,
Ooh.
Let's move on.
What time's that? Is that midday?
Yeah, 20 to 12.
Oh, I might come to that.
Well, that's the plan at the moment. Obviously, guitar lesson and stuff. But yeah, that's the... Because I think it's 1 hour 40, so I can probably fit it in 12 o'clock and then got to get over to Wolvo for guitar.
Let's have a look. Live planning for the things that happen in the past when you hear this.
What seat am I in? And I'll let you know. I think I'm like relatively central, because obviously that's what I always try and pick if I can. I'm in F11.
I rushed home for this.
Quality content.
That's it, yeah. Right, anyway, summer 2002, the big winners are from films released May to August. Spider-Man, which was $825 million it made that summer. Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. We had Men in Black 2. We had Signs, Minority Report, which we discussed last week. Austin Powers in Goldmember, which obviously we are discussing later this episode. Scooby-Doo, Triple X, Lilo and Stitch, and The Bourne Identity with the big films of that summer. Overall, so the full year top 10, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, #never forget, was the biggest one that year. 947.9 million that made, which obviously was number 2 last year, and number 1 was Harry Potter and Philosopher's Stone. Yeah, that'll do. This one is second this time. It's Chamber of Secrets, and that got 879.5 million. So there's 3 films which have come in over 800 million in this year, which is a pretty solid year for the early 2000s. $1 billion films weren't as regular as they are now. So yeah, 3 films hitting that level is quite impressive. Star Wars Episode 2 came in at 4th. Men in Black 2 came in next. Die Another Day, that's Bond, isn't it, that one?
That's the worst one.
Is it? Okay. I may have seen that one. I had to watch one for How Did This Get Made?
That's the one
which is the one with who, sorry?
Madonna.
Oh.
What's the one with Denise Richards?
The World Is Not Enough.
I had to watch that one. That was terrible.
I thought Christmas only comes once a year.
Signs again. Ice Age, which I've never seen. Catch Me If You Can.
Hang on. You've never seen Ice Age?
No.
You've got no knowledge of Scrat.
Is that the squirrel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen like that character, but for whatever reason, missed it at the time. Never went back to watch it. I don't know what it is. It's just never. I don't know anyone who particularly likes it either. Like Shrek and stuff still gets spoke about now, 20-something years later, but I don't think anyone ever talks about Ice Age.
Ice Age is fine. Ray Romano as a miserable cunt is fucking. He makes yeah. John Leguizamo is the sloth, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's loads of them.
Yeah.
Is there really? Okay. I thought there was three, but
there's a new one coming out as well.
Fair enough. So how many are we on then? Like five, six?
I think now.
And then there's specials and all kinds of things like that.
Because they brought the two. They brought the two other ones in, didn't they? Sean William Scott and whoever the other one is. Simon Pegg, actually, I think.
Is it DreamWorks?
Blue Sky.
Okay.
Is that their own thing? Are they owned by Disney now?
Probably. They own fucking everything else.
Fox, so yeah.
There you go. The 10th film of that year was Chicago, which I think that was like one of the biggest winners at the Oscars that year, if I remember correctly. I remember that doing pretty well around that time. So obviously we've had this massive world-changing event happened between summer 2001 and now summer 2002. So this is the first like proper post 9/11. I think this is where really the noughties sort of finds its footing somewhat, because there's this shift from kind of goofy optimism to this fairly earnest seriousness. Like even in popcorn films, I think a lot of the films there's a more serious edge to everything. Like Spider-Man being bright and colourful and everything, I still think is a very grounded, very earnest movie compared to what we were getting 12 months prior. It seems like the world has changed, and obviously it's going to have done because of the event. The move towards this gritty realism, like the Bourne Identity. I mean, it's kind of ironic really that we've got the Bourne Identity in the big hitters of the summer, and we've got a Bond film in the full 2002 top 10. So we do have the two polar versions of a very similar kind of film, and Die Another Day felt like that was the end of the way things were done, and then Paul Greengrass and the Bourne Identity is how that genre of film has now picked up. And obviously the Craig films have very much followed more like a Bourne than they have a Pierce Brosnan and Bond, haven't they? Obviously, Stu, you're big into that world of stuff. This is kind of a pivotal moment, isn't it?
It's a bit like, you know, how what Batman and Robin did for that lot, and it was destroyed for ages, and then it had to come back and be serious. In Die Another Day, there's an invisible car that drives on ice.
Fuck me.
And
right, okay.
There's Madonna is fencing in there, and CGI Bond goes surfing. The actual things that happened, as I've said before, 7:007 a.m. on that ticket.
That was the one.
That was that one, yeah.
Okay.
Ridiculous film.
That sounds like camper than the.
It's like the Roger Moore ones.
60s. Like, yeah, it sounds just awful.
Yeah, it is. Was it F11? You said. You see, by the way.
What? Oh yeah, we are F11. So yeah, get 10
F12.
or 12.
There we go. Yeah, it's camper than like Roger Moore running across actual crocodiles. Is better than what was in Die Another Day. It's utterly awful. But look how much money it made again. And
yeah. I mean, it is an institution regardless of actual quality. Like, people have always sort of flocked to that film, to that franchise. But I think they must have known at this point that the jig was up and it needed refreshing. And realistically, the Bourne Identity, I still think is the high watermark of that genre of film, that spy espionage, gritty realism action movie. I don't think many films come close to the Bourne movies, apart from the Jeremy Renner one, obviously, because that one was very good. But the Bourne movies are great, and even though like we are now 24 years removed, I'm still excited for the next Bourne movie when that finally hits the cinemas. It should be excellent because they've never given us anything that hasn't been at least a very good movie, as long as Matt Damon's involved in it.
I think it was the third one that the shaky camera actually got to me. And I have no vertigo issues whatsoever, but it kind of made me look away for a little second. You know, the car chase. It was like too much. Like, oh, come on, calm down a bit. It
is intense, isn't it?
But it's one of the things, like, you know, that there's that whole thing about how there's been no real like culture or fashion for the last 20 years because everything's just in the same time period. That's what this film feels like. I haven't seen it for a while. But you watch it now and you think, I presume it's exactly the same as when it was then, other than phone tech, obviously. But
yeah. That's all that changes, is the phones look a little bit snazzier now than they did then. But realistically, it means nothing, doesn't it? Like, a phone's still a phone. So yeah, I really like the Bourne films, I do. I think they're excellent. And I've just looked as well, so Die Another Day was the final Pierce Brosnan film.
yeah,
So yeah, it very much was an indication that times needed to change. Ash, are you much of a Bond fan? I can't remember if we've ever discussed it.
I like Goldeneye. But that's only because of the N64 game.
Fair, to be honest.
No, because I worked most of the Daniel Craig ones, and we had what was the really shit one? Was it Quantum of Solace?
it doesn't make any sense, yeah.
Yeah. We had like a proper Bond day at the cinema, and they actually got a what's his name? Is it Jaws?
Yeah, Richard Keel, yeah.
Yeah, they got a Jaws impersonator to be in the cinema. Like, he was just walking around with the fucking the metal teeth and everything. And they had like a car as well, and it's just like, they said, Ash, get dressed up. You're going to be playing James Bond. I'm like, what
dear.
doing what? You're walking around with this big fucking lug. Like, honestly, the fucking size of him, if he could have fucking just took me and raped me somewhere and they wouldn't have. I've never been big Bond. I've not watched a single Bourne ever.
You're missing a treat there. I think you would, especially the first and the third, which are both Paul Greengrass directed. They're excellent movies. They're really fucking good films. The second's still very good. It's just not quite up to par with the other two.
Yeah, you take them as a trilogy though now, it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even Matt Damon's fourth one was a good film. Yeah,
I've only seen that once.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching it again, because I think I've seen it once back when it was released, but I still really enjoyed it. The Jeremy Renner one, I think I've seen twice, and it just doesn't feel like Bourne. That's the only problem with that.
It's
one.
not, is it?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's in the world of, but yeah, it's just not Bourne.
Like Ballerina.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It just feels a little bit off. Like, it's recognisable, but it's almost like it's been put through a colour filter, so it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
The thing with Quantum of Solace, though, that I know we talked about this with Marsden and Monty on that infamous podcast, but it was retrofitted afterwards to make some kind of sense. It was the middle of the writer's strike, so they had no clue what they were doing. So it's all jumbled. It's chaos, that film is. It's got a title that doesn't make any sense, and none of the plot does either, but it does later on. So it's saved in a way as a fivesome.
Okay, so they bring it a bit like the Mission Impossible series. They make it all make sense by the last one. Fair. Okay. Against the gritty realism, I think we also saw a move towards heightened fantasy. Obviously, Spider-Man, Lord of the Rings being the two biggest films of the year. They feel like, again, a bit of a response to the cultural trauma that's gone on in the world. Like, we've had people trying to make sense of how things are, but we've also had ones who've just dived headfirst into these big epic fantasy worlds. So, as I said, the biggest three films of the year, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Spider-Man, they're all part... I mean, I know Spider-Man, however you want to look at it, they're all part of a bigger universe. Spider-Man would have fed into the comic books, for example. Like, there's more to that world than that. Star Wars coming in fourth place. It feels like it's an adjustment that's happened again post 9/11, that it's leaning into escapism, and the most grandiose escapism that I think is available to them. I think that is a big reason why those films really hit in 2002.
That's because I was thinking that when you put the thing out, and I thought, well, these films would have been being made when it happened, so that they can't be, well, most of them can't be influenced by the event, but people's reaction to it definitely would. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think as well, like, films are often made in the edit room. Like, you can film as much as you want, but the film isn't the film until the editor sat down and knocked it into a shape. So I do think that some films are made after the actual production has taken place. It's done in the post-production in a lot of cases. And I think summer, and especially as you move on towards winter with Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, I think they probably would have done. But even so, those films don't really rely on any real-world tropes anyway.
I mean, there was the bit with Spider-Man, though, wasn't it? If you go... It's still up there, thankfully. The original trailer with the getting the web between the two towers.
Yeah.
And the helicopter, which is kind of hinted at in the new one as well, which is nice. But yeah, I remember seeing that trailer and thinking, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then it obviously wasn't. I thought, it's not going to be in it now, is it?
When I went to the 9/11 museum last year, they had a room that was just all, like, every reference of the Twin Towers in film and TV and everything. And they had the posters and stuff up from that Spider-Man. So it was like, just everything. And you don't quite realise how ingrained it was in so many films until I was like stood in that room surrounded by it. It's like, oh, it really was everywhere. And I don't know if it's just because of our age, maybe, that it maybe didn't quite hit the same, or because it was American, maybe if you were a little bit older at the time. But yeah, I remember that. I remember because there's a bit of a furore, because I think, if I remember correctly, I think Marvel and, is it Paramount who owned, or is it Universal, isn't it? Sorry, who owned Spidey, the rights to Spidey.
Universal's got Hulk. I think it was Paramount back then.
Okay, yeah. So they wanted it then removed, and I think Sam Raimi didn't want them to remove them, if I remember correctly. So there's a bit of a battle, and ultimately they won in removing them. It's quite an interesting thing, because it's a different world, but is it still the right thing to do? Because I suppose it would be quite jarring for the people, especially when it's, Spider-Man is Mr. New York, pretty much. So I kind of get why they would want that removed.
I know when the first time, because when you watch it, like obviously Home Alone 2 and Trading Places and all that kind of stuff, where they're there all the time. I think they were in Metal Gear Solid 2 as well at some point, because it's on a tanker in the river, so that's the point. But I don't know if that was in the demo. I can't remember. It's too long ago. But I remember the first one where I saw them again, and that was in Fringe when they went to the alternate world. Where the Statue of Liberty hadn't oxidized, so it was bronze, and then it kind of spoiler for the end of season 1 of Fringe, but it kind of pans up and you see the tower still there, and then oh no, more best unwatched show ever, which everyone would like if they won't give it a chance. And you look at its IMDb rating, and as I say, every single time it comes up, and it's like an 8.5.
It is kind of beloved, but was it on Sky One? I can't remember why I didn't watch it, because it kind of sounded like the kind of thing I would watch, but just never got around to it.
Yeah, it was X-Filesy as well. There's X-Files people involved.
Crazy. This is also the beginning of the surveillance era. Paranoia creeping into mainstream storytelling. Minority Report, Bourne, Men in Black 2, Attack of the Clones, all obsessed with being watched, being tracked, being monitored, being controlled. Like, this is the cultural hangover of 9/11. If you move down a few more years, obviously, the Edward Snowden film that we watched for Nicolas Cage, like, I feel like that you can probably throw that into the mix here as well. And I feel like we went through a run of films that were all sort of tying into this paranoia in this way. And it's understandable, because I think there was really a fear of, I remember at the time that you'd watch TV and the news would talk about the rise in surveillance cameras and all those kind of things. So that kind of reaction is going to happen on screen. Like, it is just a mirror of what we see in the real world. And I think you could see it starting to happen pretty quickly.
You remember when they put the big one up, the big camera up outside Canal Club, and people kicked off and tried to take it down?
No.
Like that happened. That must have happened like about 20 years ago.
On the ring road?
Yeah, the really tall one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember at the time that people were like hitting it with things. So why do we need to be watched all the time coming out of a club? I thought, well, that's exactly why.
It's for your safety, but yeah.
Well, look at the portal. Was it a portal thing, or whatever it is, the New York and Dublin one? As soon as they put it up, let's send each other fucking awful things. Didn't the Irish people send the picture of the two towers getting taken down as well? Yeah. Lovely bunch of lads.
It's great, isn't it? Franchises became the emotional comfort food for a shaken audience. I think this leans into the heightened fantasy stuff. And I've said it before, like with Spider-Man was the film, I think, that pretty much shaped where we are today in the cultural landscape of cinema. It's the big film where I think studios realise that they don't particularly need a big name. I know Sam Raimi's known-ish. Like, he wasn't the biggest name back then, but he was known to people like us who would have liked The Evil Dead. But in mainstream cinema, he doesn't have that cultural cachet that he does now. Tobey Maguire surely doesn't. Like, I couldn't tell you anything Tobey Maguire had done before Spider-Man. That feels like that was his film, really. So that's where they learned that IP is king and not the star. And I think that's the film. I think the reason cinema is in the shape it's in now is off the back of Spider-Man. And everything has trained the audiences to be more like that. Which is quite interesting, because obviously I think it's starting to shift again now. It'll be interesting to see where we end up next, but I think that's had a massive ramification for 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, I was never really bothered that much about Spider-Man, weirdly enough, before that film. If it was comics, it was like Frank Miller stuff and things like that. And you had people like Javin Baxter at school who loved X-Men. So we kind of, by osmosis, read that stuff. But that film kind of changed everything. Like, going back and watching the TV show from the 90s, that was the only thing I'd ever seen, really, of Spider-Man. And that was just because we had no choice, because it was on. And you look at it now and you think, oh, it was actually all right. It was an X-Men good, but it was all right. But yeah, but from that moment on, in 2002, it was like, yeah, okay, this is my shit now. I remember it being a bit of a... We don't go to watch comic book stuff. We're all the sport people on that side of the in-betweeners life. And then you look at them 5 years later and they're all queuing for Avengers, and 15 years later. But yeah, it was... that's what that's changed it for me. I think it was... You probably are right that there was nothing else, because it was fluffy and nice and it was colourful again.
Especially off the back of Batman Robin, where even Robin, who, like, the joke has always been that he wears bright red so they shoot at him and not Batman. and in that film, he wasn't. He was wearing a very toned down red. Like, everything was just shades of grey. So it was the first time, bat nipples, obviously. It was the first time that comic books looked like a comic book, but in the real world.
Is it an age thing as well? Because I find a lot of the younger audience love Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Like, Spider-Man just appeals to the younger audience, I think. I've always thought that Spider-Man's always been the big one, but that's just me. Like,
yeah, I think when Stan Lee would talk about him, he would say that the reason that, like, Spider-Man is the Marvel character is because he wears a mask, and anyone could be Spider-Man then. So you could feasibly see yourself in that, because he has no identity, really. He's just a kid in a mask. I also think, as well, you are right, I do think it's definitely an age thing, because Spider-Man historically has been around late teens, early 20s throughout most of the run of his comic books, which is kind of why I've never really warmed to Tom Holland, because he just doesn't feel like that. He looks like an old man playing a child whenever I see him in anything, and it's weird. And the fact that he's now in his 30s playing someone who's still supposed to be young, it just doesn't sit right with me. So I think that is a big thing of why the younger people have always flocked towards Spidey in a way that they probably haven't towards any other ones of the comic book heroes. Because I think I think if you were going to do a Mount Rushmore, if I'm being honest, I think from Marvel, you've only really got Spider-Man. I don't think there's any other characters in the Marvel universe who've got the impact, if we're looking just at comic books, that is, in the way that Spider-Man does.
Hulk
Has got a good TV series, but also I don't know that he's the comic book character that would have really broke through in the way that... Like, I think you've got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman and Spider-Man would be the four faces of Mount Rushmore. I think a lot of people would probably know David Banner before they would know who Bruce Banner is. Like, I can't even remember the guy who played him now. Bixby, was it? I can't even remember who it was.
Bill Bixby.
Bill Bixby, there you go. Like, I think people might know that a TV show, but might not necessarily have known that it was from the comic book world in that same way. But that being said, the one Stanley autographed thing I've got is a Hulk comic book, because I do really like the Hulk, but I just don't think that he's had that big wide appeal in quite the way, until potentially something like Planet Hulk, I think, is where he broke out a little bit, potentially. I could talk about comic books for fucking years. Sorry, getting off topic a little bit. I think this is going to be, and this is something we're probably going to talk about a little bit more when we get to the Austin Powers towards the end. This feels like the end of the mid-budget comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I think we get a lot of really small ones and we get a lot of big ones that are, they're not really comedies, they're action films that have just got a quip in, or it's a horror and it's just got a quip in. I don't think there are a lot of, as I've said before, comedies anymore. And I feel like this is very much the beginning of the end, if not the end of the end for that type of film, which is surprising because Austin Powers did good numbers for this year. So I don't quite know why that happens here. Because again, you would think people would want that sort of escapism, but obviously not.
Did the crowd would that be the sort of thing of the crowd sort of grew up at that point, maybe? Because say you've had American Pie, you've had Freddy Got Fingered, you've got all these sort of films. Maybe people are just sort of growing up in that sense, and the next era haven't arrived yet. So say your era and my era is just a bit too young at that point.
It could be. It could be that there's just a gap in the market and didn't. But I think the rise of the franchise, I think companies they were happier to pay 200 million on the chance of getting 800 million than paying 60 to 80 to get 200. So I think companies, they just saw the success of Spider-Man and stopped banking on mid-range projects.
And I think,
if you can get 800 million out of 200, that's a lot better than doubling 60 million.
there's probably a lot of this whole thing with comedy as well, that people like that. Them few years it was boring. And so everyone, like, even like funny, everyone just went super serious. Like, we can't joke about anything anymore. And I think that kind of influenced everything as well. So it might have been being forced to grow up when people might not necessarily have wanted to. Obviously, no difference to me. But I'm trying to think the next big one like that. The Hangover films.
So I've just had a quick Google to see what other films have come out like each year following. Elf doesn't really fit. School of Rock doesn't really fit. Bad Santa doesn't either. Old School, Intolerable Cruelty. Anchorman, we do get Anchorman in 2004, which is closer to that style of comedy, I think.
That's when my sort of era is starting to hit 15 as well.
Dodgeball, I think, is another good shout in that world. And then I think you've got the rise of the geek, haven't you? Like, you've got the Judd Apatow, Steve Carell, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Seth Rogen comes through. But these films they're closer to indie than they are mid-budget at this point. Like, there's not many named people in these films. Like, I know Will Ferrell has got like a bit of cachet name-wise, but more so in the States because he was former SNL. In our country, like, he was just that guy who played Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, it's him and Vince Vaughn and all their little crew.
Yeah,
that's who this is. I remember, like, Talladega Nights didn't really do anything. Look at the UK box office for that. It probably, I don't remember it even being on.
I don't.
It's great, though.
I would definitely need to see it again. It's been a long time. I don't remember particularly liking it, but we've established I don't like Will Ferrell, so. It was a $72 million budget, and it made 163, so it pretty much doubled it. So probably just about made a tiny profit.
And that's probably all domestic as well.
I would imagine so. What's the? It doesn't tell me the domestic. It doesn't break it down. But it does feel like they are sort of moving. Superbad, I suppose that would be, the younger generation's American Pie.
Mm. But they were all like story, though, weren't they? They weren't just stupid.
Yeah. It's very much.
You talk about growing up. I've just put a picture in the group chat. Even Jeffrey from Toys R Us. Yeah, he got forced to grow up in 2001.
What have they done to him?
Oh, that's okay. Poor Jeffrey.
He looks like he's got special needs. What's happened to his mouth?
So do we think that 9/11 permanently changed the blockbuster film, Ash?
Yeah, I think it did. Like I say, we've had to. We've just got a bit more serious, haven't we? Really, I think that's what it is. Like you say, there wasn't the silly bollocks. Like, I'm trying to think now of Adam. I'm just thinking Adam Sandler himself. Like, when does Adam Sandler get really shit? And I think it could be around about then, because obviously the 90s he had his real hits, and then it's sort of Little Nicky was Little Nicky 2000.
Yes, it was.
And
then from that point on, I don't know that I've seen many, and the ones that I have are not very good. Little Nicky, Joe Dirt, not that. He's the Animal. Punch Drunk Love, good film, but not a comedy. Well, not a traditional comedy. Mr. Deeds, not a good film. Eight Crazy Nights. The Hot Chick, he's in for a moment.
Anger Management.
I
didn't mind Anger Management.
50 First Dates was okay.
But yeah.
The Longest Yard, which is... I watched recently, and it's great if you're a wrestling fan, but it's not a good film.
Is Hot Chick the one with Rob Schneider?
Yeah. Derp. Yeah.
But he's another one that's... He was of a certain time and then never adapted at all.
Yeah, his stuff was like... I don't say Freddie Got Fingered, because, but it's that sort of... It has that reaction from a lot of people that most people hate it, but those who like it seem to really like it.
It's the Tom Green stuff.
Except Tom Green is a much funnier person than Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
Like, Rob Schneider's just a dork who's in these films, I think. Whereas I think Tom Green he's a genius, and he just operates on a different level, almost, with his comedy.
I mean, Juice Bigelow is legendarily brilliant.
It's very much on the so bad it's good scale.
The fish tank stuff.
I it's been so long since I've seen it, I probably couldn't tell you anything. I don't even think I've seen the sequel. I can't
European
remember.
Gigolo. It's okay. It's not as good as the first one.
I may have seen it at the cinema, but I don't remember enough to be 100% certain on that. Stu, same question to you. Did 9/11 permanently change the blockbuster?
Yeah, because it permanently changed people. Like I said, things were different after that. I mean, you had internet time as well. And broadband around that time came in, so you had the enlightened talking about stuff online and things that didn't happen, and the rise of the crazies and all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, I guess, like you said about the fight to remove the towers from films, like at the time it probably made sense. It's a sensitive subject. I remember it being a thing, and it making sense then. But like now, you see things based around that time, and they're in there. They put them back. They're there digitally now, so it's. You can say nature's healing. Like things are swinging back the other way again, but for at least for 15, 20 years, it definitely changed everything.
It did. I wonder if the film Yesterday with Himesh Patel, who was in The Odyssey, the one where he wakes up one day and he's the only person who can remember the Beatles. I wonder how much of an impact that had, because weirdly that film, he's the only person who remembers the Beatles, everyone else forgets, and the Twin Towers are still standing. Like, how does that make any sense? That in our world, the reason that the Twin Towers were taken down is because we had the Beatles. But in his world, they didn't have the Beatles, so the Twin Towers are still there. And I kind of wonder how much of filmmakers started to see those kind of things and say, oh, actually, we can put these in again because it's not offensive, because if they can get away with it in that terrible film, maybe we can do it in something that isn't awful.
Yeah.
We also see the seeds of the shared universe here. Stu, you touched on it really when you said about how it was building back up from what Batman and Robin did. Yeah. This is the start really of, what we now see as the MCU. But also I think that the Bourne Identity had that big impact on Bond, which then gave us the Daniel Craig. And the Daniel Craig films, compared to other films from what I remember, they're continuous. That is a story. Whereas the other ones, it does feel like there's no plot, but there's no like running theme throughout them. It isn't that one happens and they move on to the next. There's no continuity in storyline. It's just that they're films with this character, and realistically it doesn't really matter when or where they happen. But with those Bond films, they are in order, the Craig Bond films. So I feel like, again, that's another thing that has been built out of this era of time. Lord of the Rings, that's grown and grown. Obviously, I know that the source material, there's quite a bit there to work with. But it starts here, and then we get The Hobbit, and then we've had the Power of the Ring, or whatever the fuck it's called. There's all this other stuff too. We've had Terrible Games, and we've got a Gollum film coming out. And again, all world building, and this is the seeds of it all. I feel like this is where the seeds are planted, and everything grows from here.
Remastered games, actually.
I never played that one. I never played it because it wasn't canon, was it? Because they used liberties. So that's completely new for me. I can't, it said available now. I was very excited.
Yeah.
War of the North or something like that.
Did you ever watch that Raheem?
Yeah,
film? War for the Raheem.
Was it not good?
Not really.
I was in a screen with about 4 of absolute neckbeards. Like, they may as well come in with fucking hairy feet.
It feels like that's the proper bottom level fucking dregs of the fan base will be excited about something like that one.
Yeah, it's just a bit jarring as well, the whole animated thing, because it's not animated at all other than the old film. But once you get over that, it's just not very good either.
That's the biggest issue, that isn't it?
Yeah, so you ain't talking about like, Animatrix or anything like that. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't even go and watch it. I waited to watch it at home. And I'm glad I did in the end. It's one more thing to add to the list. Let's play Shadow of Mordor again instead.
Fair. So which film from summer 2002 do you think has aged best, Shu?
I mean, we mentioned it already, the Bourne films. They just look the same. I mean, and so the worst, but we'll go to that in. There's a couple of things for that. But just looking at the things that we haven't mentioned, like Bend It Like Beckham.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is great. Or it was. I haven't seen it for a while. Things like Panic Room.
Mm-hmm. More paranoia, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's hard. It's definitely not Spider-Man, is it? But I think, like we talked about it last week, about Minority Report. That's almost more relevant now than it was then. Yeah, I'd probably say, yeah, it's a toss-up between the Born Identity and Minority Report for me, for very different reasons. One, that because it looks like it could have been filmed now. The other, that its subject matter is very close.
Yeah, it could be written now, couldn't it? The other one, yeah. Ash, what do you think?
Lilo and Stitch. Especially compared to the fact that they're remaking them. Lilo and Stitch is a gorgeous movie. And I have no complaints with Lilo and Stitch whatsoever. Lord of the Rings feels a bit of a cheat. Although I do love Gangs of New York. Gangs of New York was 2002.
It was, yeah. I quite like adaptation as a film. I think that's aged pretty well, and obviously we watched it not that long ago, Stu, and I think that still holds up really well. And I think it kind of works because 2002, the world was in a bit of an identity crisis, and obviously adaptation is a film about identity crises. So I think that has worked pretty well, and obviously we've grown up in that post 9/11 world, seeing it. I think that does stand up quite well, if I'm honest. I think The Bourne Identity has probably had the biggest impact on the cinemascape of any film from 2002, because I think even when you, obviously I know we've said about what Spider-Man caused, the repercussions, but I think even when you watch a lot of cape shit now, you can still see the footprints of films like The Bourne Identity, the shaky cam, the way they try to make things look a little bit more hard-hitting, a little bit more interpersonal. and give you that feeling of claustrophobia at times, I think. I think stylistically, probably The Bourne Identity is the one. But also, as you said, Minority Report does really... It's like the fucking Simpsons. The Simpsons predicted Donald Trump was going to be president. Minority Report just predicted everything else, it seems. It's crazy. So I think that's definitely a good shout.
I mean, there is one that came out in September that year as well. It kind of changed everything. And a proper like sliding doors moment. Van Wilder, Party Liaison.
Oh God!
If that hadn't worked,
You should have shut that shit down. What about the worst aged film? What's not aged well at all, Stu?
do we take the Scorpion King cheat out of this?
Yeah, like put aside visuals because, like, Episode 2, not great. Men in Black 2, not great. Minority Report is a little iffy in parts. Is there anything that just doesn't really work in 2026?
I mean, Crocodile Hunter was a time and place thing, sadly. But just, I mean, like Stuart Little too, he's on there. And we still get films like that anyway. We got G-Force years later. The best films ever. Jason X.
No, why are we doing this now? I'm not having Jason slander. I'm not in this. But especially Jason X. It's got the best kill in the entire blasted franchise.
But I think when I was looking at it earlier, I think something that wouldn't get made now is. I mean, Snow Dogs is fun. But we don't have things like that. But Attack of the Clones is shit. It's beyond shit. Rubbish. It's the worst one of them all. Last Jedi, maybe. But I didn't like it then. It felt dated then. It feels even worse now. And that's without even talking about the visuals, which are obviously terrible. Yeah, it just feels... I don't know what it is.
It's just an awful film, isn't it, that one? Ash, what about yourself?
Everything in my being wants to say Scooby-Doo.
It's not, it's funny.
But it's not, but Scooby-Doo... The first Scooby-Doo movie is absolutely superb. Blade 2 sucks. Although it's not Blade Trinity.
Exactly.
I'm trying to see now. What else did I point out?
They talked about Blade Trinity on Corridor Crew the other week. And you know the bit where he's lying on the table and they think he's dead? And they had to digitally draw eyes on him because they'd already got all the shots and someone forgot to film him from that angle and he's opening his eyes.
Christ.
Right.
That's Guillermo del Toro as well. That's not acceptable.
I'm going to say Red Dragon. Like, compared to Hannibal and Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon just does not hold up as a movie. Like, it's not bad, but it's just not
Ed Norton. Was that Red Dragon?
No, that was the good one. That was Manhunter.
No, it is. No, Ed Norton is in that one. Ralph Fiennes is he young?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It was it was Manhunter, but they'd filmed it third, hadn't they?
Yeah.
I saw it at the cinema, and I don't think I've seen it since, so I can't really say I remember a lot about it.
But Anthony Hopkins is way too old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the worst movie, but compared to Silence of the Lambs, it's just nothing.
I think that there was a certain look about films around this period of time. And Triple X is the one that's on the list of like the top 10 of the summer. And I feel like it's very much, sorry, Matt, nu metal, MTV, Limp Bizkit, fucking Mission Impossible 2, super fast cuts. They look so awful and look really cheap. And I feel that anything like, Triple X, Rollerball, if you remember that one, these kind of films, they look like they could just be a music video, but they're just stretched out to 2 hours 15 minutes because fuck you, they're going to make you wait that long.
It's
those kind of films.
Pimp My Ride.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, it is. that type of film, I think, looks so bad when you watch it back now. It looks very much of a place. Like, I know I made the joke last week, it looks like he'd be wearing a Charlotte Hornets jersey. And it is that. Like, it's a Charlotte Hornets jersey with a can of Red Bull and a puffer jacket. Like, it's that kind of shit. And it's just weird, and I think it looks terrible.
They've all got the credits and stuff all sliding from the side as well.
Yes, with like a stick of dynamite, the wick beaten down. Yeah, that Halloween Resurrection was another film that was out this year that I think, again, just looks like an MTV movie. It's awful. And Master of Disguise, which, if you've not seen it, it's Dana Carvey. Don't watch it.
You love Dana Carvey. Now, how many Dana Carvey films have you seen? You've seen those?
More than I fucking wish. Honestly, his character's name is Gio Disguisey because he's the Master of Disguise. It is abysmal. It's so bad. But yeah, I have seen that, unfortunately. It's terrible.
Transporter was this year. It was 2022.
It was. Oh, yeah. And again, it feels very MTV, and I probably enjoyed it at the time. It doesn't feel like that would have aged all that well.
Transporter definitely has the writing. Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that, like, the subgenres for the Transporter are car action, martial arts, one person army action, Jason Statham action. He has his own subgenre.
You know, we're only 3 months away from Trapped in Paradise season. It's going to be Dana Carvey.
I can't even think about Christmas when it's fucking 30-something degrees at the moment. Oh, that'll be the good days. Can't fucking wait. If you were to remake a film from 2002, what would it be, and how would you remake it? Who would you cast? Who would be the director? What do you think, Stu?
I think you go for Panic Room. With Glenn Powell. I don't know. Just do it from a different point of view, and I it's against everything that I normally man a bit, but flip it round. Have it as a bloke in a panic room. A million, I don't know, some massive basketball player, but in a panic room situation. Do something
interesting,
something like
give it a different character,
a bit like the new Thomas Crown Affair, which I thought that's a stupid idea. Then I saw the trailer, I thought, okay, fine. Yeah, that's
what Michael B. Jordan, isn't it? The new one. It's fucking great, though, isn't it?
Writes the theme tune, directing.
Yeah, 100%. It's a good shout, though, because Panic Room, I think, is one of those films that doesn't get the love that it should get, because I do think it's a solid film. Ash, what about yourself?
I wanted to remake Phone Booth because you look through these films. Where is it though? You look through these films. You've got 28 Days Later. That's getting remade. Resident Evil getting remade. Fucking Scorpion King. That's in the Mummy universe. That's getting remade. There's always a new Bond. Jackass just come out.
Yeah.
Oh, what about I Spy?
Anne Hathaway and no.
Eddie Murphy and Owen Wilson.
I have absolutely no idea what that is.
That was the sort of buddy comedy film of the year. Have you never watched I
don't think I've seen this either.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
A professional athlete has to help a US government agent recover a missing jet.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely no idea.
So you could easily get a Ryan Gosling, or you go forever with your fucking buddy comedy ones. Just not Dwayne and Kevin Hart.
Oh, God. I hate that film. It's so bad.
Look at the poster. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's got the writing.
Again, 100% that writing comes in sideways. I think I'd remake Triple X, because I feel like there is a fucking seed in there that could be quite interesting to have a more extreme kind of version of the Bourne Identity and Bond, and I think they could do something with that. It would need to be completely stripped back, and I wouldn't have fucking Vin Diesel anywhere near it, because it just wouldn't be good. Like, The problem with every Vin Diesel film is that Vin Diesel's in every Vin Diesel film, and he kind of ruins them all to some. Even the good ones, he ruins to a degree because he's not charismatic enough to pull it off. So something like Triple X would work with somebody like Michael B. Jordan at the helm of it. I think he'd be quite an interesting one. Even get him and Coogler together again. I think you could have quite a bit of fun with that, and I think that would probably be something that I'd be a bit more interested in than any of the others. And as you said, like a lot of the others, either they still work or they're still making sequels now anyway, so a remake isn't going to be worthwhile.
The Triple X 2026 with Roman Reigns.
Oh, God, no. Absolutely not. It needs someone who can actually act, but at the very least wrestle. Which of the summer blockbusters would you tell somebody to watch if they'd never seen a summer 2002 blockbuster before, Ash?
Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Like, you just watch it. Like, you don't need to go flying in anywhere. Without the pun intended. Like, yeah, Spider-Man. Like, enjoy yourself. Just have a good time. Like, Tobey Maguire's great. Bonesaw's great. Willem Dafoe is just fucking superb in that movie. Like, you'll have a whale of a time.
Yeah, I think I like about Defoe in that film, it's like when you get one person who's a proper actor acting with Muppets, that question, and that's what he feels like. Everyone else is just like trying to keep up with him because he's so far ahead of everyone else. Yeah, tremendous performance, that one. Yeah. Stu, 2 for Spider-Man, or?
I mean, you got to caveat Spider-Man by have they seen any of the other ones? Because if you go back, it's not going to have the same impact, is it? There's one on here that I probably should have done in the remake part as well, but I remember loving it at the time. And when I watch it again, it wasn't as what I remembered it being. The Sum of All Fears.
I remember the title, but fill me in. What's the story on it? Because it rings a bell, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
It's Affleck. It's Jack Ryan.
Oh, shit.
Morgan Freeman.
I think I was picturing the one. I think it was with Samuel. Changing Lanes is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's a Jack Ryan film. He took over from Harrison Ford because he was obviously too old. It's really good, but like a proper no side writing, no new metal, a good proper thriller.
But I think did say summer, because I kind of would tell people to go and watch the first Jackass if they'd never seen a film from 2002. But yeah, just dive into Jackass. It's fun and weirdly sweet in a way that you don't really expect, because it's all about, well, it's bromantasy, isn't it? Let's be honest, at its core. But I think if you're looking at summer, I think the best film of that summer is probably Minority Report. Yeah, I think Minority Report is actually, it gives you a little bit of everything that you like in a film. If you want big action, you've got it. If you want something with heart, you've got it. If you want an actual proper story, you've got that too. And the visuals are okay for 2002. It's only just because we've moved on so far in the years since. Like, it doesn't look any worse than any other 2002 film. So I think I'd probably say Minority Report is the best of that bunch, personally. Right, we'll take a quick break and then we'll be back. We'll be doing our short film review where we'll be discussing Who Killed Rover, also known as the Dogville Murder Case. Welcome back. It's the short film review, Who Killed Rover from 1930. It is available on YouTube, so it's 15 minutes long. If you want to watch it, feel free. 60 seconds on the timer, because the screen has changed around. Ash, you're first on my screen, so you can go first this week.
Oh, joy.
All right. One. Yeah, okay, tell me when to go.
Go on, then.
Okay.
I think I had a fever dream. I couldn't really believe what I was watching. Well, I was just looking at all the different puns of Fido Vance and Dogville and fucking. I couldn't. I'm genuinely at a loss for words. I think, because it was something else. Like, I think you'd pay good money to watch slapstick like that nowadays. But they were getting it. They were getting it back then. Obviously, it was bollocks, but I quite enjoyed it. And the ending, I just fucking howled at it. I genuinely howled at the ending because it's just so nonsensical. Yeah, give it your time. Why not?
Cool. Thank you. Right, Stu, you can go next. Say when.
Okay. I mean, for a film that's 96 years old, I got sent the link on Twitter about this, and I thought, oh, this looks funny. And then put it on, and I thought, this is both incredibly problematic, but you got to put yourself in the time frame of this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, these animals are being treated horrendously, obviously. That doesn't mean it's still not funny. And yet it was probably banned. But as someone who loved Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp as a kid and watched every episode of that, I think it was on Discovery or Gold or something. But yeah, this was... I think A Fever Dream sums it up perfectly. If you got the dogs playing snooker poster for 15 minutes, that's what this is.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, my turn. Right, part of a 9-short film universe known as the Dogville Shorts. I saw it for a minute and thought, this is fucking adorable. I giggled at Fido Vance and all of those things as well. But then the cynic in me immediately kicked in and I thought, this is 1930. Those dogs are not walking on their hind legs for any reason other than abuse. And it turns out, of course, they were. Because we're not allowed anything nice, are we? That studio didn't last long. Animal rights activists made sure those puppies weren't hurt for our entertainment, which I'm all for. The idea of talking dogs, like investigating a possible murder, on the face of it is really kind of fun and silly. But I don't really understand who this film was for, because if you think about dogs dressing up as people doing silly things, you expect that to be for kids. But this film was about a potential kidnapping and murder. They've got another film that was a sports movie, and they've done a coming of age, college age story. Like, those aren't kids' films. So it's a little bit strange. It's an interesting curio, I will give it that, but there's not a lot here, in all fairness. And when you add in the darker side of things, I'm not sure how much more of these I would actually want to watch. Right, quick break, and then we'll be back discussing Austin Powers in Austin Pussy, which is part of Austin Powers in Goldmember. Be right back. Welcome back to the final part of the podcast. I expected this was going to last 3 minutes, because at first I had no notes, and then I started writing, and all of a sudden, there's lots. So we are here to discuss Austin Powers in Goldmember, but kind of specifically Tom Cruise in Austin Powers in Austin Pussy. Released on the 26th of July 2002, little over a month following Minority Report. So, as I said, technically, this is just about Austin Powers in Austin Pussy, alongside Gwyneth Paltrow, Kevin Spacey, Danny DeVito, directed by Steven Spielberg. And honestly, I think Austin Pussy ruins Goldmember because, like, that beginning is so good, and it hits at this really fun romp that ends with this gag, and then Goldmember film ends up being quite pedestrian in a way that I don't think the first or second Austin Powers films are. Like, the jokes in this, they're all recycled ones from those other films. And then it's very 2002. Like, the cultural references are all very 2002 in a way that I think that by 2003, nobody gives a shit about these jokes, let alone 24 years later. And I don't think International Man of Mystery or The Spy Who Shagged Me relied on contemporary pop culture gags anywhere near as much as this film does. So it makes this feel very dated, and it just felt like brain rot in 2002 to me. I really didn't like any of the Goldmember stuff in this film.
Did you mention who plays Goldmember?
It's Mike Myers again.
Oh,
no, at the
fucking
end.
Everybody.
In Austin Pussy.
Oh, in Austin Pussy, John Travolta.
Yeah.
Getting all his Scientology buddies around. Yeah. Am I being harsh here? Because I just don't think it works as a film. I don't remember enjoying it at the time, and I remember really not liking it when I watched it 2 days ago.
Obviously you are. you're right though. It's nowhere near as good as the other two, and that's why we haven't had any more. Because it was a sketch turned into a film, turned into a sequel, and then this was like, okay, what can we do now? Can we be more childish? And I didn't stop giggling to myself throughout the whole thing because just put myself in that mindset. I remember I watched all three of them in the cinema somehow, and I hadn't seen this since that day. I'd never seen it again, and yet I remembered most of it, which, considering what's happened in the last 5 years, is quite miraculous, really. The cameos bit, strange enough, was the bit that I didn't remember other than him. So I remember as well being in that screening at the time, not knowing about it being a thing, and then it happening and people gasping, and then cheering when the next one came up, and then the next one, and it being a whole thing about how has this happened. But yeah, it's a stupid film. It's an incredibly stupid film, because of course it is. It's not as good as the other two, but I'm saying I enjoyed myself because I knew what it was. Would I enjoy myself now watching it without context? Probably not. But that kind of silliness and the yeah baby and all that kind of thing. I mean, I had like one of them bouncy balls that when you threw it against the wall, it said yeah baby, and shagadelic and all this kind of stuff. I loved Austin Powers. I haven't seen it for a long, long time. Yeah, I enjoy myself. It's just the first two are so good that this is like a 6 compared to their 8, and that's being generous at times. But did I giggle? Obviously.
Ash,
What year did the first two come out?
97 and 99.
See, I think that's the problem. Is I was too young to watch them two, because I'd have been 7 and 9. So obviously Austin Powers meant nothing to me, and obviously at that point then I'm watching Goldmember as a kid, and none of these jokes are hitting apart from the mole one. Mole. Just, and it still tickled me to this day. Like I remember messaging Andy and said, "Fuck's sake, the mole," and then why am I laughing? The worst part is I'm laughing again. But no, I don't think it hits at a certain age. Like you have to have a certain thing. You have to. It's just silly bollocks, and it's shite. But you have to be a certain age to appreciate the shite.
I kind of feel like I'm really harsh on this film because I think the first two are so good, and this is just nowhere near. And it feels so thin compared to the others, because I feel like the first two films, they almost feel indie in their spirit. Like they're quite small scale compared to this, and they were punching well above their weight. They had much better scripts and much better jokes, whereas at this point they're recycling the gags, but the budget is so much bigger at this point that I don't quite understand what they're doing with this movie. It worked for me on so few levels, this one. So usually when we do this segment, I've got like 4 quadrants that I fill in, like the good, the bad, what I liked and what I didn't like. And the good segment is literally Austin Pussy. Like the rest of it just is Michael Caine was perfectly cast for Nigel Powers. However, that joke feels very thin at this point and doesn't really add anything to it. And I don't know if that's the context of who Michael Caine is now compared to who he was then. Like I feel like Michael Caine was probably a bit more of a caricature then, and I think his acting skills have been a bit more pronounced post Austin Powers, especially like working on Children of Men and everything that he's done with Christopher Nolan. Harry, yeah, like he's done a lot of very good stuff. And at this point, he was Michael Caine in everything, wasn't he? In 2002. So I don't know if that joke is just thin because we know that he's better than that. You can see why Beyonce never broke through into Hollywood. Like, she's not a competent actor. The delivery of the lines is often quite flat. The only time that she looks convincing in this film is when she's singing, which makes sense. The jokes have just been completely run into the ground at this point. There is nothing new or original in this. Even Ozzy Osbourne says, like, one of his jokes is it's the same fucking joke. Because it is. That's what they just did time and again. And it's really good in the first film and really good in the second film. But by the third, it's diminishing returns. Goldmember feels like they started with an impression and then just worked back. Like, there's nothing that even makes me think that it was a Dutch impression that he was doing. He was just making silly voices and thought, oh, that'll do. It feels really bad. The Hard Knock Life parody was very weak when you compare it to Just the Two of Us from the previous film. I don't think that was a very good parody at all of that song. The flashback scene, that felt like it wanted to just get the producer's son on getting his first screen credit, because the two actors who were playing Austin and Dr. Evil were shit. They were awful. And then having Austin and Evil be twins made no sense. It came out of nowhere. It wasn't sweet. It wasn't funny. It was just a thing that happened that really dulled what little momentum the film had got by that point. Like, again, I know I'm being harsh on it because it is a fairly throwaway film, but it's because the first two aren't throwaway films. The first two are very good movies. That this was such an insult to the memory of those two films. I did like the evolution of Scott Evil. I thought that was good. That was interesting. What I didn't like was that they wasted the evolution of Scott Evil. Because realistically, they could have done it where when they could have had them find out they were brothers earlier and have Scott Evil be the big bad of the film. Goldmember's not needed. Goldmember's only in this because he's as bad as fucking Dana Carvey. That's why he wants to do multiple impressions. And also, actually, I don't even know why. Like that's all it is. It just feels like it was just a case of we need to have these people in here.
Did you not go around just saying gold? Like gold all the time after that film?
I mean, probably.
Exactly. There we go. That's what it was.
Catchphrase comedy is not that strong, though, is it? Like, it's proper lowest common denominator stuff.
Farter. You know, I said that's what. My dad obviously never saw this film. He knew what it was though. But yeah, I think when you're 17 at the time of this coming out, and this kind of stupidity, it was superb. And I think that's why I was laughing so much. I think it just took me back to that time. But he's like a Dutch bloke like Antoine de Caunes is a real person on Eurotrash. That's the kind of the kind of character. Did you watch Eurotrash, Ash?
I mean, I wasn't meant to. But yeah, obviously late at night.
What a life.
And what I really didn't like is why wasn't Heather Graham in this film? She was so good in The Spy Who Shagged Me, and she was a massive part of why that film is easily the best one of the bunch. And their pivot away from Heather Graham to a much less talented actor in Beyonce, and bringing in Goldmember, who isn't even as remotely interesting as Scott Evil, who is in this film. Like, it's just a massive whiff. It's just such a disappointing end to what could have been a very good comedic trilogy. I was quite surprised when I looked at the critical versus audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes. So the critics gave it 54% positive reviews. The audience, 44%. So like, even the audiences weren't particularly behind this one. Whereas the other ones, I think they were in the 70s for both of them, the audience scores. I don't think this ever got a particularly great critical score, which I get. It's fine. But yeah, the audience didn't even particularly care for this one either, it seems. So, does he run? No, he literally only stops to turn to the camera. That's pretty much it. Like, I don't think he does anything else. I think they've probably just got stand-in for the other bits. Does he take his shirt off? He's probably got more clothes on than I think we've seen him wear for quite some time. No sunglasses either, but he's rocking a pair of the thick black-framed NHS spectacles. Explosions, there were quite a few in that opening segment, to be fair. And like I said, that was quite an exciting, fun little segment, and if they'd have made a full film out of that, I might have been a bit more interested.
You know, he said that panning through the canyons was almost exactly the same as the start of Mission Impossible 2 as well. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think Austin Pussy works so well as the parody, because it is leaning into other tropes of other films of this era as well. And then obviously bringing in Tom Cruise, who is the hottest shit in the world at this point. It works really well.
Cruise doing cruise things. So the opening is basically Mission Impossible 2, same mountain cameras flying through. Car chase, which looks kind of similar to the one that he did with Tandy Newton. There's a few stunts that you'd expect of Ethan Hunt, but Cruise didn't actually do those ones. Reportedly, Mike Myers asked Spielberg if he wanted to do something in the next Austin Powers film. Spielberg then took that to Cruise, who said, "I'm in," which is quite Cruisey, to be fair. So we've started to see this thing where he's playing a little bit with his star persona and trying to subvert it in the 2000s. Like, he's regularly the sexiest man alive kind of fodder in the magazines, Cruises at this point. So turning himself into Austin Powers hasn't become massively out of character. Like, he wants to push the boundaries. And I know this is obviously a very silly little 2-second gag, but even so, that's still kind of Cruisy. Apparently, he wanted to wear the teeth, but he was talked out of it by Jay Roach, the director. On the morning of the shoot, Roach said to Cruise, "It would be funny, but the whole idea of this is that Hollywood made a version of Austin Powers, and they would take advantage of Tom Cruise's sex appeal. So if we give you those teeth, that's over." So Cruise decided not to wear them. It's very much an anti-ego move, and I suspect this is probably going to be similar when we get to Tropic Thunder, when we start looking into that one a little bit more. They had only 8 hours to film all of this. Director Roach said that he was terrified as there was no room for error, but Cruise banged out his running, his jumps, and the catchphrase deliveries with precision. He's just a complete professional. There's no other way to put it. I can't find any comments that Cruise has made on this film. Everything we've learned about Cruise on Austin Powers is from Spielberg, Roach, and Jay Myers. Mike Myers even. Scientology Watch. So, we're still in the early 2000s. Scientology was desperate for a second megastar. Tom Cruise obviously doing great work for them, but they wanted the ultimate flex. They wanted the sex symbol. They wanted Brad Pitt. At the time, Brad Pitt was dating Juliette Lewis, who was a high-level, second-generation Scientologist. She convinced him to head to the Celebrity Centre in LA to try out a few of the introductory courses. The church saw dollar signs. They thought, if we get Brad Pitt, we own Hollywood. So they immediately fast-tracked him straight to one of their most intense initiation rituals, the purification rundown. Scientology's idea of a spiritual detox. This involves making you sit in a wooden sauna for 5 hours per day whilst chugging massive, near-toxic doses of niacin, which is vitamin B3. The church genuinely preaches that niacin sweats out the toxins and alien radiation left over from your past lives. In reality, an overdose of niacin causes an intense flush. Your body's blood vessels dilate, your skin turns bright red, and you start itching uncontrollably until you're on fire. So Brad Pitt, the biggest sex symbol on the planet, was sitting in a boiling box for 25 hours a week, glowing bright pink, sweating buckets and itching like crazy. But because he was such a high-value recruit, they couldn't just leave him alone in the sauna. They had to assign him a sauna twin, a handler to sit in there with him, monitor his progress, and make sure he didn't quit. So who did the church assign to Brad Pitt? A 15-year-old girl named Sam Domingo, the daughter of opera legend Placido Domingo, who later left the church and went public about it. So Brad Pitt was sat in a towel, looking like a boiled lobster, slumping in a sauna, staring at a 15-year-old girl and groaning, "Man, this is really tough." And this teenager is just sitting there trying to egg him on, "Stay strong, Brad. Keep sweating out all those past life alien toxins." And if the sauna wasn't weird enough, they also put Brad through a therapeutic training routine. One of these exercises requires you to sit on a folding chair directly opposite another human being and stare into their eyes for 2 hours straight, without blinking, talking or fidgeting. It's old school hypnosis technique meant to break down your mental defensive. Brad finished the sauna torture, did the staring exercise, looked around the room, realised he was surrounded by complete lunatics. He broke up with Juliette Lewis and ran for the hills. The church realised that they lost him, so what would they do when they get humiliated? They slapped a suppressive label on him and warned members never to speak his name again. Incredible. Big 3 award count. Obviously, there's no Oscar nominations or anything. And surprisingly, there's no Razzie nominations. I thought there may have been one. But I was surprised to learn that The Spy Who Shagged Me was nominated for an Oscar for Best Makeup. And he was also nominated for a Golden Globe for the Madonna song that was on that film as well.
Beautiful Stranger.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at that, but yeah, excellent. The critical response at the time, critics agreed that despite an iconic opening sequence, the franchise was running on fumes. While the star-studded cameos and Michael Caine's performances were widely praised, most felt the film relied far too heavily on recycled jokes and lazy, bodily fluid humour. Mark Kermode, a disappointing final instalment of a franchise that should have been restricted to one film. It remains a lazy, episodic mess that can't decide how self-aware it wants to be. Myers remains a talented individual, but no amount of gold can make up for the fact that Goldmember is pretty pants. Roger Ebert said, a step or two down from the first and second, but has some funny moments. The movie is a little tired. Maybe the original inspiration has run its course. It's a small disappointment, but I'm glad I saw it. Sorta. Peter Travers from the Rolling Stone. Myers has squeezed every last drop of fun out of his 60s spy spoof. After the brilliant opening celebrity sequence, the film spends the rest of its runtime recycling stale jokes, repeating set pieces from the second movie, and wallowing in low-rent toilet humour. The modern reassessment... There hasn't been one. Like, nobody's come back 20 years later to claim that Goldmember was a misunderstood masterpiece. But looking at it now, it feels like the last gasp of the massive, big-budget studio comedy. Like, it's a 2002 time capsule of where Mike Myers had so much power that he got Steven Spielberg and Tom Cruise to do a bit. But, you know, $300 million later, now he doesn't really get to do these kind of things that much anymore. I mean, there are rumours that it might be coming back, but there have been rumours since this film came out that, you know, we'll be getting a fourth one. So take that with a pinch of salt. And whilst I do think this film sucks, I am sad that we don't get these kind of films anymore. Like, I would happily take one of these a year in the hope that one of them hits, even if the majority don't. It is a bit sad that we just don't get to see that many of them. The budget was $63 million. Which gives us a cumulative total for Tom Cruise of $897.8 million to make all of his films so far. And the box office return was $296.9 million, which gives us a cumulative total of $4,260.5 million. So he's doing all right.
Would he even been paid for this?
I mean, he may have got a day rate, just because I think he would have to because he's a union member. So he might have got $50, something to that effect. Like, it wouldn't have been a lot of money. But, like, as a SAG member, I think they have to be paid, even if it's just a day player rate, which back then could have just been a couple $100. But, yeah. Ash, Cage, or Cruise?
No, you can't have Cage. Cage just isn't beautiful in that way. Like, it has to be Cruise, because he is the biggest star in the world at this point. It has to be Cruise.
Yeah, that's what I've got. Cage just doesn't have the recognition that Cruise has. So, like, it literally only works if you have the hottest action star in the world doing that role. Like, it has to be Cruise for me. Stu?
Yeah, obviously. Same reasons. The only way it'd work with Cage would be if it was like a pastiche of Face Off or something like that. And you got Travolta anyway, so it could have been. But at that point, you're completely changing what that scene was anyway. So no, it doesn't work with anyone else.
I mean, Cage maybe could have done Kevin Spacey or even Danny DeVito's role, but I would rather have had Danny DeVito, in fairness, because that makes that joke even funnier. But yeah. Stu, is Cruise the saviour of cinema or just another sinner?
The fact that he can do something like this in the same year that he does Minority Report, just for a bit of a laugh, and still look amazing and get the point across straight away. Saviour.
Ash?
Yeah, pretty much the same. It's obviously like it's a precursor to Tropic Thunder for when we get there, but it's that he can obviously not take himself too seriously when he doesn't have to. Obviously, you say about him being professional, but you can tell he's taking the piss here a little bit, and he looks great doing it.
Yeah. Like, as far as the film goes, I thought it was a stinker, but Cruise using his star power for a throwaway gag and 3 seconds of screen time, like just lending your star power to something like that, unquestionably the saviour of cinema for me. Stu, if you enjoyed Goldmember, you may also like...
I mean, the obvious answer is Naked Gun. So, even the new one, the one from last year, watch that. Because that's the closest thing we've had since.
Yeah. Ash?
I thought the obvious answer would have been Tropic Thunder just because of the cruiseness of it. But I think, and I'm pretty sure I've said it once before, but I can't believe I'm going back to back with Johnny English.
I tried to look for like mid-budget gag-a-minute films, and like they're quite hard to come by now. Popstar Never Stop Never Stopping is that kind of film, but obviously it's a very different genre. It's just stylistically it's got similarities. The Naked Gun reboot I'd put down as well for one, because plenty of gags in there. Friendship, the Tim Robinson Paul Rudd film from last year. I don't know if either of you saw that. It's very good. And that feels like an updated version of it because it's more cringe comedy than it is anything. And also Good Fortune from last year, the Aziz Ansari, Keanu Reeves, Guardian Angel body swap movie that was out last year. Like, it felt very high concept and actually felt very 90s as a movie. There was a lot of gags in there that came fairly thick and fast. So, yeah, Good Fortune, I think, would be a decent enough film to watch if you like Goldmember. All very different to this, but yeah.
It's on Prime now, is what I think.
It should be. I'm sure it was out like October-ish, I think it was, something like that last year.
Yeah.
Or it may have even been very early this year thinking about it. But yeah, those would be my picks. So what are we doing next week then, lads? I should probably know the answer to that one.
Yes.
We've done How to Shoot a Ghost. So we are watching, for the short film review, a movie called OCD, which is an award-winning short film. The only reason I've picked this is because Stephen Ogg is in it, and I really like Stephen Ogg. So I know nothing about it, but that's enough for me. And the film we're watching, is this going to be...
Yes.
The Last Samurai?
Finally.
I am looking forward to this one, because I barely even remember it being at the cinema, let alone anything else. So to go into something like this with absolutely no idea what it could be.
Look at his goatee.
It's quite exciting.
Magnificent. His goatee in this is magnificent.
In 19th century Japan, Nathan Algren, a US Army captain, is hired by Japanese emperor to train his army in the modern warfare techniques. Captain Algren finds himself trapped in a struggle between two eras and two worlds. I mean, that's fine by me. Who is this? Edward Zwick. I don't even know that name. That's the director, Edward Zwick. What else has he done then?
I think it's Zwick. It's
okay.
Polish.
Oh, he did. He was a producer on Shakespeare in Love. What's his directing stuff like? The Best of Times. He didn't do that fucking Nicolas Cage thing we did he? No, it's a different one, thankfully. That worried me for a moment. I don't know that. He did something called 30-somethings in the 80s. Courage Under Fire? I know of that film. I can't remember much about it. Is it Denzel? It's Denzel. And Meg Ryan. There's not much standing out from his filmography. Oh, Blood Diamond.
I like Blood
with
Diamond.
DiCaprio. Jack Reacher Never Go Back. That's 2016, so that is the Tom Cruise one. That's not a good film. I don't know much about by this director, so I'm intrigued.
It's a good cast as well. Good cast.
Yes, so we are looking at obviously Cruise, Ken Watanabe, Billy Connolly, William Atherton. Who else have we got?
Timothy
Tony
Spall.
Goldwyn, I recognise him. Timothy Spall, always a fan of him, seeing him in films. Yeah, solid cast that. I'm looking forward to this.
Sonada.
The images look really fucking good as well, so it looks like it's going to be a well-shot movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Like I say,
Sonada from Shogun. He's in Shogun and Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Which one's that one?
What, Sonada? Or
No, the Mortal Kombat guy. Who is it?
he's Scorpion.
Oh, okay, right. Interesting. That's dead now as well, apparently, which I kind of thought was quite funny. But it was no surprise, like, neither film was particularly good, and it needed a much better box office on the second one. Obviously, the first one COVID times, so the box office was never going to be much of a consideration. But the fact that the second one failed,
it's fine. We're all aboard the Street Fighter train now.
I mean,
that film's got every chance of being this year's stupidness, even beating Masters of the Universe.
He's gonna hate it just because of who's in it. He's gonna hate it just because
100%. But it looks fucking abysmal.
Of course it does. It's going to
bad. Be. Even compared to Mortal Kombat 2, it looks worse than that, and that is going some way. Plus, I hate the original as well, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, but you love Stephen Ogg and you've never played GTA 5, where he's an actual character in it.
Yeah.
For 27 hours.
Oh, I didn't realise that. I thought he was like a side character in it.
There's 3 main characters.
Okay,
Stephen. Yeah. He looks like him as well.
I've seen the images.
Yeah. Stephen Ogg as Trevor or as Stephen Ogg. Is it? Like he's played himself, like he's done cosplay as himself. As Stephen. Because obviously Rockstar will get him if he says Trevor, but crazy bloke. Yeah.
He does seem like a good guy as well. Like I really like Stephen Ogg, so I'm looking forward to that one. A neurotic delivery driver named Owen battles his OCD at a local convenience store, where his TikToker girlfriend plans an exposure therapy dinner date at home. When she helps him resist his compulsion, it subsequently triggers the apocalypse. I'm all in on that. Should be good fun. Right, okay. That's us done this week anyway. As I said, next week, OCD is available on YouTube if you want to watch it. And if you want to watch The Last Samurai and join us for that as well, we would be quite happy to allow you on the cruise. Make sure you get us on whatever podcast that you listen to us on. If you could leave us a review as well, that would really help us out on the algorithms. If you want to get in contact with us, it's at Cage Fighting Pod on all of the socials. And it's cagefightingpod@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. For this week, Ash, would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye, fellows.
Stu, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, remember, people, this is the last one. He'll be introducing himself as his old name, because on Monday he's changing his name by default to Andrew Manetzi. Goodbye.
Absolutely not.
Oh no, he's getting a bag on him tomorrow. It says Andre on it.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's goodbye from me too. And remember, be excellent to each other.